You just dodged the bullet. Yeah, and if you're not nice to us, we'll tell it.
He said 2 minutes a while ago.
That one said 30 seconds.
We'll call the meeting, council meeting, Thursday, January the 21st at 6 p.m. to order this time. Please stand for the invocation, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Chapel Larry Howell is giving the invocation this evening.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we pause to thank you for this great nation we live in. We pray tonight for our leaders nationwide, statewide, countywide, and citywide. Pray for our military individuals, Lord, as they serve us and protect us. Pray for our law enforcement agencies. Keep your hand upon them as they drive our city streets and our county roads. And Lord, we pray for our city council. Thank you for each member. Lord, your word says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God. We ask for wisdom. And every decision that comes before this council, you guide them and direct them. These things we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and you may be seated. At this time, I will ask the city clerk, Ms. Skelton, to do roll call.
Ms. Caruth? Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Tripp?
Here.
Mr. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Harrell? Mr. Westcott?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Keller? Mayor Harris?
Here.
Mr. Smith? And myself. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Council, in your packet, you have the minutes from the meeting on December the 8th and December the 17th of 2020. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Brown, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Westcott. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And at this time, we will have the financial report by Ms. Johnson.
General fund revenues for December were $2,314,101. That includes the $1,106,127 CARES grant receipt. The revenue was 1.4% above year-to-date projections, excluding the CARES grant. Tax receipts were $871,421, and franchise fees were $38,518. Tax revenue comparison increase over the prior year for city was 4.4%. For the county, it was 7.8%. And when we look at the analysis for budget, our actual receipt revenue for city funds last year was this year was $4,639,957 compared to a budget of $4,400,000, which indicates that we were 5.5% above our budget in receipts. On the county level, we received $5,352,055, which is 8.1% above budget. So that was significant. General fund expenditures for December were $1,753,209, which was 2.07% below year-to-date projections. $2,089,165 more received than spent. Street fund revenues for December were $865,691. New sales tax was $623,386. State turnback and ad valorem taxes was $140,904. Half-cent road sales tax was $55,957. Interest was $19,961. General fund reimbursement of $15,000, that was related to the vehicle work that the Public Works Department does for the police department. Street cutting permits were 9,500 and other was 980. Street operating revenue is 4.4% above year-to-date projections. Street fund expenditures for operations was $213,293, which was 13.9% below year-to-date projections. Spending of the half-cent sales tax was $46,635, which was for interstate lighting. Sales tax improvement spending was $460,551 for drainage projects and maintenance, sidewalks, and overlay. December revenue for the economic development funds was $52,192. New sales tax of $49,114 and interest of $3,078. December expenditures were $9,475. $6,995 was for Arkansas Valley Alliance. $2,289 was the remainder on the comprehensive plan, and $191 was spent in some of the equipment for the police vehicles. The balance of the various economic development funds as of December 31st, 2020, the 2003 fund was $1,516,595.31. The 2007 fund was $1,011,409.06. The 2014 fund was $1,145,530.74. December revenues for capital assets was $114,471. New sales tax of $98,289. Parks was $15,487, and interest was $695. December expenditures was $395,257. $203,292 went to Citicorp, that's 2 months. Transfer to general of $140,228, which was the remainder of the airport grant being returned back to general fund. Remember, you funded $308,000. We transferred that remainder back this month. Replaced the roofs at the fire station for $31,549. Intergov software implementation expenditures was $12,028. Engineering at Hickey Park was $4,800, and engineering at James Park was $3,360. That's all.
Any questions, John? One thing I'd like to add before we move on from financial, we talked about this in November, December, our projected carryover this year. And I just want to reinforce, this year, last year, the city's carried over $3.5 million into our carryover funds from last year to this year. About $1.1 million of that is from the CARES Act. That still means the city's carried over about $2.4 million. And that's money that we didn't spend, and that's money that we gained in revenue. What that does is indicate that the city council and the city staff takes their fiduciary responsibility very seriously and have managed through the year of 2020 in a fiscally responsible manner. And I want to make note of that tonight as we move into this new year. And with that challenge, I'll say that we have a little bit of additional money in our piggy bank, and we have to continue that fiscal responsibility, not get carried away, so we can talk next year about how well we did this year. So, thank you very much, Council. Moving on to the mayor's report.
And I said all that, and I didn't have the mic on, so nobody in the community heard it, so. And that was for the benefit of the community, so that they would recognize how good a job you, the council and the staff did last year. In the mayor's report, I want to welcome, I hear we have some ATU students here tonight. They're here part of class. I want to welcome you tonight and thank you for being here. I'm going to reorganize the mayor's report a little bit because we have a special guest here tonight, and I want to bring them in first because we want to keep those critters happy. And I will turn the floor over to Mr. Ewing as he introduces our new police staff, Vinny and Max.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for allowing me to introduce my new officers. The officers before you, I've got 2 new K-9 officers. One's K-9 Max. His handler is Officer Jason Dugan, here right in front of the mayor. And I've got Officer Casey Jackamore, who has K-9 Vinny. They've been on the street for about a month now, and We had a lot of community support from, community leaders, businesses that helped us make this happen. It was an expensive endeavor, but we've already seen rewards from the work they're doing on the street in the short month they've been out. These dogs, a lot of people want to know, they come from Holland. They spent several years in training. They're Belgian Malinois, if you want to know what breed they are. They're very well-behaved dogs. I got, Officer Jackamore was this year's Officer of the Year, and Officer Jason Dugan is a prior Officer of the Year. So I've got great handlers, great dogs, and I wanted an opportunity to introduce them to the City Council and the Mayor officially. Also, I have a picture. James, this picture here, this is from a couple of nights ago. That's Max in the picture. You see all the guns, drugs, and there's several firearms and a bulletproof vest. That was from the work of these dogs. I think they worked together. It's just Max happened to get this one. But that's the work it led to a couple of nights ago. I can't talk about particulars in the case, but they took that off the streets of the city of Russellville. And I don't know if we could have had that large a hit without having this resource available to us. So I'm proud to have them. I'm proud of all the support from the council members, mayor, and the community to make this happen. So I also have a presentation too, real quick. Ms. Caruth, if you'll come join me. Ms. Caruth, in July of 2020, the Russellville Police Department, in coordination with the Russellville Police Foundation, began a fundraising drive to fund the startup costs and implement a canine program for the department. This was an expensive endeavor, which included the cost of the 2 canines, equipment for vehicles and kenneling, and associated training. When you learned of our goal of starting the canine program, you began actively seeking donations for the Police Foundation, thus becoming a strong advocate for this program. Because of your dedication and enthusiasm for this project, the Russellville Police Department was able to establish a canine program in a timeline that was unimaginable when this first started. It further provides an additional resource that supports the overall mission of our department. On behalf of myself and the officers of the Russellville Police Department, especially these two because they're really happy, thank you for your support and dedication to our mission. And we've got this nice little plaque we wanted to present you. Oh, I guess we need to go out here. Hang on a second. We'll put one else on. She did, trust me. And let the record know that I made that plaque before she became my liaison. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief Ewing, and I just want to thank the officers that have taken responsibilities for these canines. I know that's a heavy responsibility. The dogs are going to get all the attention, but we know you guys are necessary to make that happen, and we certainly appreciate you as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, on the mayor's report, before we get into item number 1, I want to take a few liberty here to discuss a couple of issues that's affecting our community right now. And the first is I get a lot of questions from the community on what's the latest on the casino issue in Polk County, and I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes to talk about that, as well as an issue that's on the agenda tonight. The Arkansas Racing Commission has yet to finalize its decision relating to Gulfside as a casino of choice for Polk County. When they scored it, they did give the nod to Gulfside Casino Partnership, but at this point, they have not finalized that decision. Until this conclusion of law is finalized, there is no casino in Polk County. Gulfside intends to open a temporary annex casino in Polk County should a license be granted for the permanent facility. But until that license for the permanent facility is granted, there will be no temporary annex casino in Polk County. Although once the casino application is, the casino license is granted for the permanent facility, Gulfside will be lobbying the Racing Commission to provide them with a license for a temporary annex so that they can begin operations as soon as possible. I will let you know that State Representative Joe Cloud at this time is drafting a bill to submit to the legislature for consideration to prevent any temporary license from being approved that was not part of the original application by the casino operator. In conclusion, what I'm trying to tell you is the issuance of a license for a casino in Polk County has not been finalized, and the issue of a license for a temporary casino annex has not been approved. And this is all pending the Racing Commission's decision and any actions that may be deemed from the legislative body. On the agenda tonight, there is item number one of the old business, an item to be considered by the council in rezoning of property off Bradley Cove from residential to commercial. This issue was brought up in relation to a correction of an error that was made several years ago when the property in this area was zoned commercially. As I understand it, the property owners have been paying tax on this property as commercial land, although it is still zoned as residential property. And while this rezoning is wrong, and we're trying to correct right a wrong that was done to the property owners in relation to this issue, it should be noted to the public that this property of question is also proposed as an entrance and potential parking of a temporary casino annex. I bring this to your attention because I was not informed of this connection to the temporary casino annex until recently. In fact, I had several citizens ask me in the past, is this related to the casino? And I assured them that it was coincidence and this property rezoning had nothing to do with the casino. I've since found out that is not correct, that this issue was identified doing research in preparation for the temporary annex. And for misinforming the public, I apologize. It is my intent to always be straightforward with the citizens in which I represent, and I want to go on record and clarify this information to the community and to the public. The council will consider rezoning tonight to this property for the second of 3 readings. It's my hope that not only the property owners, but also the concerned citizens of our community are heard on this issue. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 1 of the mayor's report. Consideration nomination of appointment to the City Core Board for Jill Ward and Tim White, who were at the agenda prep meeting earlier. What is the desire of the council?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Mr. Tripp, a second from Mr. Westcott. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, consideration of nomination of Susie Griffin to the Intermodal Board.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Westcott, second from Mr. Tripp. Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes the mayor's report for this evening. We'll move on to departmental reports. Mr. Harold, anything from the Personnel Committee?
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Finance Committee, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 on our agenda this evening is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement for the lease of real property and for other purposes. And we present that as a motion to adopt. But before we do that, I move to amend the contract. If you would look at page 2 of 8. Item number 3, fixed cash rent. It currently states leasee agrees to pay to leaseor as rental for each year of the lease $40 per acre annually, which totals $11,600 per year. That is inaccurate in that the usable acreage is 294.73, which would equal $11,789.20. I move to amend the contract by striking the words $40 per acre annually, which totals, and the words per year at the end, so that number 3 would read, leasee agrees to pay to leaseor as rental for each year of the lease $11,600.
Okay, I do have a motion. I'm sorry.
And that's what the leasee agreed to when we met previously and discussed this.
I have a motion on item number 1 to accept the resolution with modification, and that is on item number 3 to remove $40 per acre annually, and just include the total of $11,600.
Second.
This is finance committee, I need a second from the finance committee on that. Okay, I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So that was the motion on the amendment, was that correct? Okay, so now, we recommend the amended contract to the full council with a recommendation to approve, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion to approve. You want me to second?
Well, that comes from the committee, yeah.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is a line item transfer request in the amount of $73,076.92, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Motion, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is a request for reimbursement for the Arkansas Valley Alliance for Economic Development for the month of December 2020. Their expenses in the amount of $3,385.91, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 4 and 5. Number 4 is consideration of reimbursement for the fourth quarter of 2020 expenses for Main Street, Russellville, in the amount of $1,560.20, and number 5 is the appropriation for that, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6 is consideration of a resolution that directs the finance director to transfer $700,000 from the federal fund, should that be the general fund, to the emergency reserve and for other purposes, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
I understand there's a correction from the general fund. I do have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 7 is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the finance director to open 4 new checking accounts with Centennial Bank to direct the sale and use revenue collected from the recently approved sales and use tax. And the accounts will be for the Street Fund, Capital Fund, Parks and Rec Special Fund, and the Economic Development. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8 is consideration of an ordinance that would waive competitive bidding for the service of renovating Hickey Pool. The Finance Committee forwards this to the council with no recommendation.
I have a motion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Mayor,
Yes.
so just to make sure I'm understanding this, we're waiving competitive bidding because we've only got the one?
I'm sorry?
We're waiving competitive bidding because we've only got the one bidder, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
There were several parties, my understanding, reached out to. Only one responded. There was another local vendor that was discussed this week on this issue. They felt like they didn't have time to put together a full quote and a response, so we are where we are
So
at
there
this
was
time.
only one bidder who could do it within the time frame that we're talking about?
Yeah, keep in mind, there was not a formal bid process. We need to be clear. When you go out for bid, that's kind of a legal issue of you have to post, advertise it, and spit out specs and get people to submit their, so what was obtained was quotes. And this is the quote that's been submitted to the council at this time.
But Mayor, for clarification, while we did not reach out to anyone locally, they have reached out to us in interest. Is that a correct statement?
Sure.
And that they're interested in potentially bidding on or doing this work?
I have not visited with them. I think one of the council members have, and at least one of them have, and I know that Terry visited with them today.
So, yes, sir, I did reach out to a local company that does this particular work, recognizing a couple of things. One, this is an ordinance, and two, there are local people that are qualified and willing to proceed with this bid process. I move that we read this by title only, one time only, with a short explanation.
So I have a motion to suspend the rules,
Correct.
read one time by title only, with a
Correct.
short explanation, first of 3 readings.
I certainly do not recommend approval, but to get it off of this, I move that we, exactly, suspend the
Okay.
rules, read one time.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second from Mr. Brown. Discussion?
You can't have discussion. You can't have discussion. There's nothing,
Yes, sir, Mr. That's correct. Thank you very much, Mr. Tripp. There is no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Yours is one time only, right?
Correct.
All right.
But it is one time only?
That's what he said, yes.
Okay, make sure we're clear on that, because that was not clear. Okay, the roll call, please.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Keller? Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Come back to him. Mr. Tripp? Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Harold?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
How did you vote on the last motion? Read one time only.
So you have
Okay.
6 to 2.
Okay, motion passes.
An ordinance waiving competitive bidding for the service of renovating Hickey Pool, authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign necessary documents for said service and for other purposes. This ordinance passed would waive the competitive bidding requirement for renovation at Hickey Pool, which is in excess of $20,000.
What is the desire of the council? Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion to approve by Mr. Harold. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Discussion.
Knowing that there are other companies that can do this and would be eager and willing to respond to a bid, it seems not improper necessarily, but borderline improper to waive competitive bidding when we have opportunities for competitive bidding.
Mayor, if I may, there's been a little bit of unsure or hesitation on this for a couple months, and as you remember, I'm a proponent of Hickey Pool as much as there can be, but I just don't know that we're going about this the right way. I would like to see us, and I'll make, if this fails a minute, I'll make a motion to do this, but I'd like to see us hire a firm to inspect, evaluate, test, and complete the entire system, to provide recommendations on what needs to be repaired or replaced, and then to provide a design spec list that can actually be bid out. I think that's the most prudent way to proceed forward, because we don't know we get into this. You don't know what you're getting into. It's like you might as well open up a checkbook. And if we go into it with a set of design specs, there's people that do this for a living. and they can provide documents that can actually be bid out at that point.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion for, I don't know if that was a motion or not, I'm gonna clarify. Can we have another motion, or do we need to resolve this motion before I take the next motion? There has to be, there's a motion to adopt, isn't it? Yes. Was there a second? Yes. Then, unless there's another motion which affects that motion, then it needs to be voted on.
Okay. Was that a motion, Mr. Tripp?
I can wait until the discussion's over. I'd like to make that motion at some point in time. It doesn't have to be right now. I'll wait
Okay.
to let the discussion play out.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Brown?
This thing here is a time-sensitive issue if we're going to do it. And I think whatever it is, we need to get in a hurry and do things. I don't care about special council meetings or what, but we need to start moving forward and get past whatever it is that's stopping this thing. We need to get to that point. And I'm in agreement that if there's local people here, why didn't they get in touch with them or whatever? But in the same time, here we are, this is an expensive process, and I'd like to have somebody credible that has experience credibly doing this stuff. And I just want to bring that point is, there's issues about when we can do this and when we can open the pool up. If it doesn't happen here in the next couple of months, it ain't gonna happen this summer.
Did I hear correctly that there is other contractors
Correct.
that are interested in looking at this?
Correct.
Bid on it?
Yes.
Okay. And who's spoken with these?
I have.
You have, okay.
We do our local people a tremendous disservice by not giving them an opportunity to work on this project.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, the work, the research, the gathering of the information that Mr. Thomas has done, I'm sure if he felt like the local company had the capability, he'd have reached out to them, and he may have, I don't know. But to have all the information here before us, it'd be easy for me to be a vendor and say, well, I can beat that price. So I think Mr. Thomas, he's done the work. He knows what needs to be done. These people have revealed it. There's some things that we don't know until they get into it. But I would like to show faith in our Parks and Rec director and believe that what he's done is the best for the city. And I would be more than willing to support this.
With all due respect, the local companies were not contacted.
So,
Okay,
Mr. Thomas, is it when they need approval soon or it can't get done? Is that correct? Before the time the pool is supposed to be open?
Time sensitive.
With all the companies that I talked to, Burton Pools and Spa was the only one that said they could do it within the time frame we wanted it done before Memorial Day. I met with Mr. Jeremy from Luxury Pool and Spa on Monday. We went out and looked at the pool. He did some inspecting on it. And he told me that was really not something they did. They would rather do the cement pool. But he said that pool was far too gone to do the cement pool, or it'd be way too expensive. It'd be better off building a new pool than going back and plastering it. And he agreed that at this point, if we were doing that pool, that the liner would be a better option, but he just didn't think he could get a bid together in time, and that was just something he didn't see himself doing.
Well, I agree that it's time sensitive and we all, but we've been kicking this can for how many months now? It's in new news, but it's more important to get it right than it is to hurry up and get it.
Right, from both the ones that's actually come and looked at it and really did a look at it, both of them, Luxury and Burton said the liner is the best way to go with that pool, unless you was to build a pool inside that pool, and then it wouldn't be a competition pool anymore.
Mr. Thomas, has anybody pressure tested our system?
No,
So that hadn't been done yet, so we don't know.
no, not yet. That'll be done,
So we're going to
that'll
enter
be the
in.
first thing that's done when we hire somebody.
So as soon as that happens, there could be a long, more substantial list, could be, of repairs needed once that's done.
Of leaks, right, and that's when they take that concrete out, that's when they'll repair those leaks.
And if
And he
we-
give me that range of $5,000 to $8,000 from previous projects that they've done is a range that it normally falls in for them to come and inspect and fix those leaks. Now, normally, when you're repairing the pool, you might not be taking out the coping like we are, that 4-foot section of concrete. We're already doing that, so all the plumbing's already exposed. So it's not gonna be as expensive just because of that, because we're doing that. Now, if we wasn't redoing that coping, everywhere they found a leak, they'd have to cut the concrete out, fix the leak, go to the next leak, cut the concrete out, and fix the leak. But we're already gonna have all that concrete out anyway.
So in a perfect world, we would have had these in-depth discussions at the Finance Committee level. In speaking with a local vendor this afternoon, they let me know that it is customary for them to pressure test a system before they would even begin to give an accurate figure of what it would cost to repair any kind of plumbing. And instead, we're going at it seemingly completely backwards, in that we would hire somebody to replace the plumbing without even knowing what leaks there are. And it just seems odd that we would go about it the way that we're being asked to go about it. A, there are local people that can do it. B, there's a certain process that needs to be in place before we even know what to ask, be it Burton or Luxury or some other company. There are certain things that have to happen before we can even go to them and intelligently ask them, what is your bid on these specific items? To my knowledge, we have not done that. We have not presented Burton Pools, for instance, a list and said, here's exactly what we want this pool to look like as an end product. How much will it cost the city of Russellville for you to do that? We've not done that. I'd like to do that.
We did do that, actually.
That's not what we've
There was
seen.
a scope given, and they bid off of the scope that was given to them.
That's not what we've seen.
And I think Mr. Thomas has said that they've provided contingency range of $4,000 to $8,000 to fix leaks that would possibly occur once the coping is removed.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
How much was it?
$4,000 to $8,000.
Any other discussion?
I just want to say, I'm a little frustrated that we've been talking about this for months, and now, and we kept putting it off, and we kept putting it off, and now we've reached a point where it's like, we have to make a decision now so that we can get the pool open for this summer, if we're going to have the option of having Hickey Pool open this year on time. I'm a little frustrated that it was pushed and it was pushed and it was pushed, and now we're up against a deadline where we have to make a decision to do something now in order to have a pool as an option, and I'm frustrated with the road that we've taken.
Right, even with those deadlines, I mean, even talking to those pool companies before, they couldn't have met our deadline anyway. Because most of them pool companies, even Luxury told me they're about a year out. They would have to squeeze in and really squeeze if they were to look at it. And, I mean, most pool companies are a year to 2 years out or coming in and doing stuff like that. And Burton's the only one that I found that could come in and do it within our timeline.
So we have one company that we've been in contact with that said that they have the ability to meet the time frame for Hickey to be open this summer on time.
Yes.
There's just one company.
That's the only one I could find, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Thomas, did you contact the local company?
I did not contact Luxury. They contacted us through the mayor or through somebody, and I met with him out there, and that's my fault. I had no idea that Luxury Pool had a commercial license. And, I mean, he was up front with me, and he told me this is not something they normally do. This is, residential is their main type of business, but they do have a commercial license. And I met with him on Monday, and then I talked with him again today.
Luxury, from what I understand, being on many construction projects with them in the past, they are not, this pool is bigger than what they usually deal with.
Yes.
They typically
Yes.
deal with home pools, maybe some commercial pools, but nothing of this size.
Right, and he was up front and told me that they normally don't deal with pools of this size, that they mainly do residential, but they do have a commercial license.
Any other discussion?
Mr.
Tripp?
Westcott, one other thing. And you've spoke with Luxury Pool, and they're interested in and looking at this pool to do a contract with us?
In my conversation with them this afternoon, I asked, I said, now, if we put this out for bid, if we go through the process of putting this out for bid, is your company able to perform the scope of work that we need? He said, yes. Are you the least bit interested in doing it? Yes. But there's some time-sensitive things that is being pressed towards us right now. You know, we've known about this, the need for a Hickey Pool to be renovated for many, many months. And we have asked for just as many months for the paperwork to be presented to us that finally was presented to us last week. So it's not that we didn't know that we were going to need to work on this pool. So is Hickey going to be able to be opened if no construction is done? More than likely. Is it swimmable right now, just like it was this last summer?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it had to
Sure.
be repaired, cracks
Sure.
fixed, and repainted again and all that, yeah.
But my concern is, if we go on our past history of waiving competitive bidding, and then someone local comes back and says, well, why didn't you put it out for bid? I do this kind of work all the time. Well, I didn't know. They told us no one local could do it. Well, here's another situation of a local company that can do it. And perhaps there are other agencies close by who would be more than willing to do this project if only they knew about it. And we have an obligation to put it out for bid if it's over $20,000. That's why that requirement is in there.
Okay, when we were having the discussions on the pool, I was under the impression that this was the only company that was interested that could even do the job. I was unaware that there was somebody, you know, I certainly would want to give a local businessman the opportunity to at least look at it. And I'm all for getting Hickey Pool fixed up the way it needs to be and operating in a financial matter. But I also, too, want to give the benefit of the doubt to someone local, too, to go out there and look at the pool and be able to, you know, make a contract on it if he can, or at least allow him to. If he can, he can't. And I like the idea of, if there's a problem out there, using somebody local, and that may not even be the case, but using somebody local that, you know, we can call upon them and they can come out there. They're a short distance away. I mean,
We still gotta
What
talk
is
about
the-
timeframe.
It doesn't matter if Tom, Dick, or Harry does it. The more important thing is that we do it right. And we're going into this totally blinded, because we hadn't gone about this in the normal course of construction. Here's my frustration. I'm with Mr. Keller on the frustration part, because being the liaison for the Parks and Rec Department, this has been discussed from start to finish, and it was the direction of the Parks and Rec Commission, the people that volunteer their time to come and give direction to it, that they wanted to build a pool in a different area, and they were told directly, don't bring it to us because we're not going to approve it. So they had to readjust fire to make people happy and put this little thing together and try and get it done before the first of the year. We've got one vendor that replied to us, because that actually has the experience doing pools and stuff like this, and they have come and given us a price, and now we're trying to get it done before the pool opens. And all of a sudden, now the city council thinks that they know how to build a pool, so they're going to sit here and say no to it. So now the contractor's not going to have the time frame to do it, and we're not going to have a pool by Memorial Day. End of story. I don't think anybody said we know how to build a pool. It's about the protocol and going about it to get it inspected, tested with the design specs. That doesn't have anything to do with knowing how to build a pool. You can't get that done. Nobody will do that unless you're going to pay $50,000 just to get a design spec drawn.
Let's stay focused here. Let's stay focused here on the matter at hand. I have a motion to approve and there's been some good discussion and dialogue in relation to this issue, and I sense some frustration by several councilmen in relation to this. What is desired? Mr. Tripp, you had a motion, I think you had a motion you wanted to make earlier. Okay. All right. Any other discussion then on this item?
If we put this out to bid, what is the fastest turnaround that there could be on the bidding process? What is it?
Well, if you put it out the bid, you're gonna have to get somebody to design it. That's gonna take at least 8 to 10 weeks, and then you're talking about another probably 6 weeks to get it out to bid, get the bid open.
Why couldn't we
So
use-
so was the purpose all along for it to not go out to bid? Like, it seems to me like if that's the normal process for it to go out to bid, that there has to be design, there has to be lists, there has to be this stuff,
Right.
and that stuff doesn't exist now, then it seems to me then this has been the process all along, that if those things are needed to go out to bid before the bidding process can begin, why don't those things already exist?
Right, because I was asked to get quotes on this, and the only company that I talked to that would give me a quote was Burton Pools and Spas. And like I say, I did not know Luxury Pools did commercial, and he come out there and told me this is not his norm, but he could do it. And, I mean, that was just this week that I found that out. And then it's just progressed on and on and on to this, because at first it started out, are we gonna do something at the aquatic center? Or are we gonna build a splash pad? Are we gonna build a pool? And now it's got to the point that we're gonna repair this, and if we're gonna meet that timeline and have the nice pool, the finished product by Memorial Day, that this is the only company that I've come across that's willing to do it in that time frame.
Mr. Thomas, did you say a while ago that the pool is operational as is?
It is, we're still gonna have to replace, to open it next year, we will have to replace the chlorine feeder and the acid feeder and the computer system that runs it. And that's all in the renovation part of it.
So in theory, those 2 or 3 repairs could be done to get it operational, and then at the same time, start the process of having design specs made or provided to where this could all be put in place for that to start the day after the pool closes. So
Yes.
we won't be having the same conversation next year.
Yes, that could be true, yes.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I'm just tired of revisiting this stuff.
All right, here,
That's it. My only hangup, I want the pool fixed. And I know your frustration, Mr. Olson, and I appreciate, but the bidding part is what's hanging me up, guys. I mean, yeah,
Would Burton Pool and Spas, would they be able to fix those 2 or 3 things that you said are needed to be done in order for the pool to be operational? Just not the overall overhaul that we're talking about, but just those 2 or 3 things in order for the pool to be operational
Right,
this summer.
Right, it would be operational this summer, I mean, by doing those, but you're still gonna have the same cracked up pool. We're gonna have to spend probably 100, 200 man hours on it, cleaning it, painting it, fixing the cracks that are in it. And then to spend that money just to do the same thing to it the next year. I mean,
Let's just call the question here.
I have a second from Mr., call a question from Mr. Olson and a second from Mr. Harold, is that correct? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
This is the
Calling
question.
the question.
He's done his work. Let's do it.
What was the vote?
Call the question. Okay. For those council members who may not be familiar with the rules of order, a call to question is a motion to end debate and vote on the item.
Yep.
Two-thirds of the council is required to pass a call to question. So Ms.
Okay.
Felton will,
Mr. Olson,
Yes.
Mr. Tripp,
No.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Caruth, Mr. Harold,
Yes.
Mr. Westcott,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
No.
6-2.
that motion passes. At this time, we'll vote on the motion on the floor, which is to approve the ordinance as read. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Roll call, please.
All right. Ms. Caruth. Mr. Harris.
No.
Mr. Tripp.
No.
Mr. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Harold. Mr. Westcott.
No.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
No.
5-3.
My third motion fails.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to, however this needs to happen, for us to consider getting those 2 or 3 repairs needed to allow this pool to open on time for this season, and at the same time, you know, starting tomorrow, the next day, whenever, however this needs to happen, but soon, start looking at what we need to do to hire a firm to come in and do a complete testing, evaluation, inspection of our system to provide complete documentation that could go out to bid, and then that could go out to bid within 60, 90 days, something like that, to have that project to start potentially within the first few days or few weeks when the pool closes.
I'll second that.
All right, let me make sure I got all
I
that.
can't tell you what the
So
motion
I have
was,
a
but I
motion
second it.
to perform necessary repairs to the pool in order to open this spring as scheduled, and to hire or obtain an inspection of the pool to provide the specifications needed to do a full repair of the pool, and those specs will then be put into the bid spec to go out to bid. Is that? Okay, and I had a second from Mr. Westcott.
Westcott.
Discussion on this motion.
Yes, sir. I'm here, why, you know, we already know how much money we need to spend to fix the pool. Then we want to go out and spend more money. I'm glad that people think we've got a lot of money to spend out there on that pool.
Can you come to the mic, please, Mr. Johnson?
In talking to Terry, I believe that the repairs just to get the pool open are going to be greater than $20,000, so they'll have to go out to bid.
I'm sorry?
The cost to do the 3 repairs that we need to do to get the pool open
Okay,
is going to be greater than $20,000. We're going to have to go out to bid anyway.
okay, thank you.
And I'd also say the motion is too broad. You're dealing with opening the pool and the money that takes to open the pool. Then you're talking about design and engineers and all that. I think your motion's way too big. You're asking for way too much in one motion.
Mr. Harrell, my intent was just give it direction and put it in motion.
Well,
Other discussion?
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, sir?
When they come and do the pressure testing, they'll fire that system up, they'll pressure test. That pressure test is only gonna go to the first leak. They've gotta fix that first leak before they can fire the rest of it to push it through to see. So really, the pressure testing ain't gonna tell you anything until you're able to fix the leaks at the same time. Cause it's only gonna go to that first leak, then you're gonna lose all your pressure. So you're not gonna be able to tell where the next leak is when they're doing that pressure test.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
no.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Tripp? Yes. Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Harrell?
No.
Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
No.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
You got 5-3.
5-3, a motion carries. Moving on.
Okay. From our 5:30 meeting this evening, item number 1 is an appropriation request from the general fund year-end carry-forward balance, the sum of $21,429.99, reimbursement for the fourth quarter 2020 expenses, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion and discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with the Boys and Girls Club for the year 2021, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Main Street Russellville for the calendar year 2021, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Motion carries.
Item number 4 is an appropriation request from the general fund year-end carry-forward balance, the sum of $224,860 to be used for the renovations at Hickey Pool. And the Finance Committee has forwarded this to the full council with no recommendations.
Have a motion. Discussion?
Is this for the ordinance, y'all just?
This is for
voted
the
down?
ordinance to waive competitive bidding in relationship
You
to
voted it
that.
down. We voted the ordinance down with this, appropriation's different. Do we need to vote on it? If we don't need to, I think it's moot because you voted down the ordinance waiving the bid.
Okay. I understand from Mr. Smith, our city attorney's recommendation, this item is mute and therefore does not require a vote of the council. Mr. Westcott?
That was the last item on our agenda.
Thank you very much. Moving on with the agenda at this time, and let me get my place here, forgive me. Okay, we are to consider, first item is unfinished old business. Item number 1, consideration of ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city on Bradley Cove Road. This is the second of 3 readings. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second of 3 readings by title only with a short explanation.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirements, read the second of 3 readings with a short explanation. Have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
An ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone properties located at 138, 206, and 228 Bradley Cove Road, all from R1 to C2. I have 2 citizens that have signed up to speak on this item. Well, but it's not up for a final, and a motion to suspend the rules is not available.
Okay.
There is no motion since it's the second of 3 readings. It can't be.
Okay, just for clarification, I asked Mr. Smith, we have 2 citizens who have signed up to speak on this issue tonight. However, since their motion was to do the second 3 readings, there is no discussion, so there is no speaking on the issue tonight. So I apologize if you came here tonight to say your piece. The next month, we'll be having a 3rd reading. There will be some discussion at that point in time. Okay. All right, moving on to new business. Item number 1, public hearing to vacate 5-foot right-of-way. In the Shin edition, this is associated with the Manor House on behalf of the Russellville First United Methodist Church. What is the desire of the council?
I think we have to declare a public hearing first.
Okay, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Thank you, Mr. Smith. This is a public hearing, so I do declare we are in public hearing at this time. Is anyone here who would like to speak on item number 1? And I think I have Adrian.
No, Addison Wilker.
Addison Walker. Addison, would you like to address the council on this issue? Okay, thank you.
It's gonna be pretty short and sweet, nothing, good evening, I'm Addison Woker with EWI. I'm here on behalf of the Manor House, and I'm just here to request emergency approval to get this thing through. I'm planning to mobilize Monday to get the ball rolling, and that's really all I got. I just plead my case.
I understand you'd like to get started on this project as soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the council to Mr. Walker?
If we do choose to enact some kind of emergency clause on this, can you tell us exactly what that emergency is?
The emergency, you mean like the issue that's holding it up, or?
It would allow you to begin
It'd be,
tomorrow.
yes.
I mean, it's proper to be able to articulate what that emergency would be if we choose to enact an emergency clause.
Just ready to get started.
Ms. Wilkie, you may just share with the council what delays would cause, what hardship it would cause to delay this.
Just time and preparation, and everything's set and ready to go for Monday. And I just couldn't see a reason why it wouldn't go through.
It's my understanding that where the current Manor House is operating out of doesn't have air conditioning in the summer, so the quicker that they can get that
Yeah,
built
we'd
and
like
moved
to
in
get
over
them
there,
AC.
they, they're dealing with food and people and all the things, so the quicker they can get into the building, better.
And I'd also point out that emergency, for this, they're not like a for-profit operation. It's not a business. They're trying to make money. They're trying to serve our community. So I think all that we can do to help them expedite that would be well in order.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Okay, Mr. Garza?
Thanks, Dave.
Being a little bit involved in this, we did the survey for it, and the reason for the 5 foot is because of the building placement. Now, they'll be able to tear down that building really quick, and once they do that, they're gonna wanna get the footings in. Well, they can't do the footings until you approve this. So that's the slowdown, is the city cannot inspect the footings, they can't dig the footings, because they'd be in violation of the setback rules, and so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, I move that we dispense with the reading
Okay,
requirement.
let me get out of the exit the public meeting. Public
I thought
hearing,
you were.
Mr.
Sorry about that.
Scott. Any other discussion? I hereby call the public hearing closed, and we will consider item 1A. Mr.
Mayor, I
Westcott?
move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only by title with a short explanation.
I have a motion to dismiss with the dismiss with the rules, I'm sorry. I just drew a blank. Suspend the rules, read, read by title only, one time only, with short explanation. Second from Mr. Olson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning a 5-foot right-of-way along lots 1 through 5, Block N, J.M. Shin Edition, Russellville, Pope County, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would vacate the aforementioned right-of-way along those lots in the J.M. Shin Edition in Russellville, Arkansas.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Keller. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, so that the petitioner may more quickly attend to the needs of our citizens, I move that we enact the emergency clause.
I have a motion to enact the emergency clause. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Olson. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And Addison, I hope that they don't throw you to the wolves too often.
Item number 2, under new business, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing authorizing the vacation of portion of right-of-way in the Shin addition. This was unanimously recommended by the Planning Commission. What is the desire of the council in relation to this resolution?
Motion to set a public hearing.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Harris. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consideration of ordinance rezoning a property from R1 to C2 located at 5520 North Arkansas, submitted by Barrett and Associates on behalf of Johnny Brown. Recommended approval by a vote of 7-0, with one abstaining by the Planning Commission. This is property north of Highway 7. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the first of 3 readings by title only with a short explanation.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirements, read the first of 3 readings with a short explanation. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Carew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance rezoning certain real in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone property located at 5520 North Arkansas Avenue in the city of Russellville, further identified by Exhibits A, B, and C, from R1 to C2.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, item number 4, consideration of a resolution to approve a special use permit to allow operation of an automotive oil change service in a C2 located at 2207 East Main Street. This is at the car wash there on East Main. What is the desire of the council?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve and a second from Mr. Okay. Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consideration of a resolution to approve a special use permit to allow operation of a storage building business at C2 on East Parkway, submitted by Max Lawton. What is the desire of the council?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Second? Second from Mr. Olson. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor
Mayor?
say aye. Yes.
We did say that they're just gonna have demos out there of, is it just one,
Just
or are we
one.
having a whole full scale of buildings
the
out
one.
there?
Yes.
Just one.
If you look at the resolution, Mr. Harris, you'll see in section 2, there are conditions placed on the approval of this special use permit. Only one storage building container shall be on the premises. The special use is not transferable. Should the food truck that it covers leave that premises, they will have to remove that particular structure. And the size of the storage containers shall be limited to the size shown on the exhibits.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consideration to update the table of permitted uses in the zoning code, unanimously recommended for approval by the Planning Commission.
Mayor, recognizing the minimal changes that would take place if we approve this, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only by title with short explanation.
All right, I have a motion to read one time only, suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirements, and read by title only with short explanation. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance amending the zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, adopted by ordinance number 1966, and for other purposes, this ordinance, if passed, would amend the current zoning code In Articles 10, by adding 4 new definitions, which are attached with the ordinance, and also would adopt the table of permitted uses in Article 13 by reorganizing it based upon, from alphabetical to usage.
Motion to
Mr. Smith.
adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Brown. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.